Good morning, Pastor Ize. Okay, excellent. Oh, well, that's a relief. Well, let's talk quickly then about the countdown to the Edo State Governorship election. There are quite a number of candidates, parties involved in the election. The three leading contenders, the APC, the PDP, and Labour parties. Your candidates in this election, Senator Monday Okpobolo and Mr. Dennis Idahosa. Tell us about preparations so far, seeing as our subject of discussion is the countdown to the Edo Governorship election. How well are things going?
Well, good morning, and thank you for having me on this program. We in the APC, we are very upbeat. We are very confident. We have done our campaign in the 18 local governments. I've actually more or less toured the 192 wards. And everywhere we went, the reception was overwhelming. Our people were unanimous in their cry for change, and they believe that we have a candidate that will listen to them and that will bring the much needed change. So we are very confident that based on the campaign that we have done, based on the support that we have, there is no doubt, by the grace of God, on Saturday we'll emerge winner in the governorship election.
Okay. Now, you have said, I mean, it's been reported that you're basing your campaign on the fact that the only meaningful development goes back to the time of former governor, now Senator, the former chairman of APC, Comrade Adams Oshiomhole. You say that was the last time that Edo State saw meaningful, progress, meaningful development. Is that, is that indeed the situation? Did we see that accurately? That the last time Edo saw progress was in the time of Adams Oshiomhole?
Well, the past 8 years has been very unfortunate. Unfortunate in the sense that the revenue that we have received in those years is unprecedented. It's been extremely high, almost twice what we had before then. And we have also borrowed so much. But it's unfortunate because all these monies do not translate to any meaningful development. When Comrade Adams Oshiomhole was governor, there were a lot of things that we saw without so much noise. For example, we saw improvement in public schools, what people call the Red Roof Revolution. It actually even boosted people enrollment in many of our primary schools, because our primary schools became even more attractive than many of the homes of our pupils. And so everybody wanted to be enrolled in those schools. So every child was practically crying to go to public school. But today, all the schools are dilapidated. You don't see any new school being built. The old schools are not being rehabilitated. And worst of all, in many of those schools, there are no teachers. You can't talk about education, you can't talk about Edo Best in the absence of teachers, and that is glaring. In agriculture, we have failed woefully. All we've been hearing about in the past 8 years are attempts to bring in investors who will go into mechanized farming. Our land has been taken away from our people. You know the one where I come from. All our land has been taken away and given to people who do not even have any history of farming. So we just believe that our land has been given to friends to resell to those who really need them. In Oshiomole's time, industries came without us spending billions on MOU. For example, it's on record that Comrade of Oshiomhole was able to leverage on his relationship with Dangote to attract a multi-million-dollar cement factory in Okmila. He was also able to get Boa Smith to come to our state. So we have two very big cement companies in our state. And all these things were done without too much fanfare. Of course, you also know too that in the area of energy generation, Azura power plant came during Oshiomole's time. Again, without billions being spent on MOU. And if you also remember, it was during this time that the Chinese found our state very attractive and began to invest here. And today, they are into ties, they are into steel manufacturing, and so many other areas around the Ikpoba axis of our state. All these things are not there anymore. There's glaring unemployment, security is in shambles, kidnapping is being done on a regular basis. I'm sure you all remember that only recently, even the state chairman of PDP was kidnapped, coming from government house. That would tell you the level of insecurity in our state. The health sector is nothing to write home about. The governor had promised that in the 192 wards of the state, he would establish primary health care centers. What we know today is that they don't exist. Even where they used to be, they are shut down. They are dilapidated. There are no doctors to even man them. There are no nurses to man them. There are no equipment. And the central hospital that we had, that was our pride, an hospital that was built as far back as 1904, was shockingly destroyed. And the governor chose to say that he wants to erect a museum there. In terms of priority, it's shocking that the governor would destroy a hospital that caters for the living, only to erect a building for artifacts or for artworks. And we don't even know where the artifacts are going to come from, because the artifacts he was struggling with the Oba of Benin for, the federal government in their gazette has made it very clear that those artifacts were collected from the palace of the Oba of Benin, and on their return, they should be domiciled there. So we cannot understand the kind of administration we have had. We've had an administration that has been very divisive. The governor has distracted himself, fighting all kinds of institutions, and it has not all gone well for governance. So in Oshiomole's time, we saw respect for traditional institutions, we saw respect for the workforce, and we saw meaningful development. And of course, Oshiomhole also patronized the Edo people. Most of the jobs that he gave out were given to people who were domiciled in our state. But what we have now is contracts are being given to people who are not resident in our state, who have no business in our state. And so you have massive capital flight, and that has impoverished our people the more. So quite honestly, Oshiomole's time appears to be in a golden age. It was in Oshiomole's time that we had any serious attempt at defrauding our state. You remember the stormwater project, which Governor Obaseki abandoned. Some time ago, I read in the papers that he has spent $150 million to handle flooding in Oredo or in Benin City. That is ridiculous. That cannot be true, because we know that every time it rains here, the states become impassable, and the flood is unbelievable. So quite honestly, nothing has been done here, despite the huge amount that has been collected. All we just hear are stories about MOUs being signed, but in terms of real concrete achievement, nothing is on ground.
Thank you very much for that overview. In case you're just joining us, we're speaking with APC chieftain in Edo State, and that is Pastor Ize Iyamo. And we did have difficulties, but hopefully it's all clearing up now. The other thing I wanted to bring to your attention is the matter of the integrity of the upcoming elections. Talk to me about that against the background of, you know, the ruling party, also a contestant in this election, complaining about the Commissioner of Police and the INEC resident electoral commissioner and wanting them removed. I'd like your commentary on that. What's that all about from your point of view?
I think the governor is being haunted by his past. You will recall the very shameful election they did during the local government election. I use that word carefully, election, because to call it an election would be an aberration. They used their security agencies to wreak havoc on people, including even those who were contesting against them. Their SEC, which is the State Electoral Commission, was at their beck and call. So I think these are all the stories that is making him believe that this election too might not go his way. I was at the stakeholders meeting that I called, and I was shocked when the chairman of PDP actually stood up to request that they want the result sheets to be signed by the administrative secretary of INEC. And the national chairman had to tell him that it was not their business to tell INEC who will sign the result sheet. That was the height of impunity for a participant to now dictate to the referee who will be the referees in the match, or how they would write the final result sheet. That would tell you that they have been so used to manipulating the process, and they are not comfortable with a process that they cannot manipulate. 4 years ago, we had an election for governor between the APC and PDP. And the same federal government, that is APC, did not manipulate the process. In fact, I recall that the governor praised the impartiality of the security agencies. So what has changed? The only thing that has changed is that the governor has done his 8 years, and it's clear everywhere he has gone to that Edo people believe he has done badly. And because of that, he cannot be in a position to bring a successor, more or less a stranger, that has no track record, that nobody knows. He's trying to bring a full-grown adult, as if he's a child, to introduce him to Edo people. And the people are saying no. They don't want a governor that has to be introduced to them. They want a governor that they know. So all this cry about commissioner, about INEC, they are like spoiled children who must have their way. And if they don't have their way, they begin to cry. You know, Governor Baseki must be told that he has no say in who is commissioner in Edo State, commissioner of police. He has no say in who is INEC. They are clear down rules. This is the governor that told his party, do not sign the peace accord. And shockingly, his candidate, who is supposed to be a very senior lawyer, allowed that to happen. They refused to sign. So what are they telling Edo people? That they want to unleash violence on Edo people during elections? And so because of that, they want a commissioner of police who will turn a blind eye to the rubbish that they did? Like when somebody was killed, the inspector that was attached to our candidate, and nothing was done about it. Is that the kind of law and order that they want? They should be told clearly that it's not their duty to detect to the relevant agencies about how the election will be conducted. We subscribe to a free, fair, and peaceful election. And we believe by the grace of God that we'll win. Our greatest selling point is that they have failed woefully, and their candidate is unknown. But our own candidate has a track record. And we believe that the two people will give us a chance, because the only time we had meaningful governance in this state was when APC was in government. So the choices are obvious. So they are not in a position to dictate at all. And I think that they should be ignored.
Okay. As you said, the governor, no governor really has a say in the posting of a commissioner of police to their state. Now, the other matter is that the SPOs, so-called supervisory presiding officers that INEC has appointed, they are alleging that that might also be an issue. And you just spoke now about the peace accord that the ruling party, led by, the governor, and, led by the governor, their refusal to sign that accord. What do you think this means? What is the import, if anything, of this? Okay, let me try again. It looks like you didn't hear me. Whereas I understand... Okay, please continue. Go ahead.
The peace accord, based on the instruction of Governor Obaseki, Oshiomhole Ighodalo has nailed his defeat. He has made it clear that he's not his man, that whatever he will be do will be determined by what Governor Obaseki dictates to him. Because I cannot imagine how you, as a contestant, will listen to a suggestion that says that you should not sign for peace during the election. That is ridiculous. So, for me, he has clearly shown that he's not his own man, and that perhaps in his gratitude for Obaseki bringing him to a strait he has abandoned all these years, he's willing to do anything that he tells him to do. Edo State do not want a stooge. We do not want a puppet. We do not want a governor who do not have his mind. We do not want a governor who cannot detect, who cannot differentiate between what is right and what is wrong. For us, signing that peace accord is a sign of good faith. If you want peace, sign that you want peace. Edo people are peace-loving. I want the election to be very free, very fair, and very peaceful. So we are going to do everything to ensure that we play our part, and we want to encourage the security agencies to deal ruthlessly with anybody that tries to manipulate, intimidate, or harass the electorate on that day. People must be allowed to go and vote unmolested. They should be allowed to vote for who they want without inducement and without fear or favor.
Still on the integrity of the upcoming election, these supervisory presiding officers that the ruling party also complained about, your commentary on that.
Well, the way Governor Obaseki is crying wolf, I believe that he's trying to lay a foundation for going to court after the election. Well, I sympathize with him if he believes that there's no way he would win, but let him put the blame where the blame should be. The blame should not be on anybody tampering with the process. I want to tell you categorically that APC as a party has no hand in who becomes INEC officials. That is the purview of INEC. Obaseki can be talking about that because when they had the opportunity to conduct local government elections, we know that everybody that was involved were card-carrying members of the PDP. But we do not follow that route. And we thank God that we have an independent electoral commission at the federal level who does what they do. And their own recruitment is their own recruitment. So I want to assure you that we are more interested in working, selling ourselves to the electorate, and getting their vote. We are not interested in trying to manipulate the process. And I want to tell even PDP members that by the cries of Governor Obaseki, they too must realize that the man has given up. So those who are still wasting their time in PDP should realize that the governor has lost faith. So if I were them, the earlier they leave that sinking ship, the better for them, and join us to rescue the state.
So you, from what you've just said, you have faith in the process. That's what you're saying. Whether it is the ability of the police to be in charge on the day, or the supervisory, presiding officers, all the security arrangements, you don't have any problem with that in your party.
This is not the first time we are doing elections. I'm sure you recall that 4 years ago I had the privilege of being the candidate of the APC. And we were in power at the federal level. And the secret, the obvious secret that was there was that even the governor compromised the security agencies because of the excess money that he had. I didn't have that kind of money. And because I was in the ruling party, I did not have that unfair advantage of being able to choose who would work for us. So I want to assure the public that APC is not interested in rigging any election. We're interested in a free and fair election. We've committed this election to the hands of God. Only yesterday we had a praise concert, a thanksgiving in advance, committing the election to the hands of God. We believe if God is on our side, we don't need INEC, we don't need the security agencies. Two people that we need is God Almighty and the Edo people. And we are confident that what we have done so far, God will support us because God looks at the heart. God sees the heart and he realizes that our candidate means well for Edo State. Edo people know Monday Okpebholo. They don't know the candidate of the PDP. They are still trying to sell him. All the billboards they have put in the state have not been able, to put their candidate in the house of Edo people. Because Edo people are asking this face, where was he before? What has he done for Edo people? And the answer is a big no. So we are very confident that after Saturday, we would have cause to celebrate and even thank God more for the victory.
In fact, underlying what you've just said is the expression we hear is right in Benin, Okpebholo, the man where we sabi.
Can you repeat that question, please?
I say that, in line with what you've just said, we hear that there have been chants of Okpebholo, the man where we sabi, and you yourself have made much of the fact that Okpebholo, Senator Okpebholo, he's a homegrown material, known up and down the land, and you're contrasting that with your primary opponent.
You are very, very correct. You see, this election is a protest against somebody that was put there before, despite the counsel by many that this man, even though originally is from here, is a stranger to our state and to our people. Many people did not think that was important, but 8 years down the road, they realized that the disrespect that he has shown to Edo people and to the traditional authority stems from that fact of being a stranger among us. On the other hand, Senator Monday Okpebholo is somebody that we know. You know, we know his upbringing, we know his struggle against poverty, we know how he succeeded in life, and we know the things he did even before he became senator. You know, we are aware. The great things that he did in Esan land, boreholes he sunk in several communities. Security that he supported with vehicles and resources. Roads that he graded and even tarred and put drainages. These are things that are visible. These are things that we know. But when you ask them about their candidate, what they tell you is that when he wins, he will do something. And we said, no, we can't take that. We can't take that chance. We have made that mistake before. You know, we are not ready to support somebody who can only perform when he's made governor. But all the years, even when he held important positions, he did not know his state. We would rather support somebody who, before he became governor, was supporting us. So we are very comfortable with Monday Okpebholo. He's a homeboy. He's somebody that we trust. He's somebody that will respect Edo people. He's somebody that will listen to us. Somebody that will be transparent in the affairs of governance. So Edo people are going to vote for him en masse. Okay.
We have a few moments left. So let's talk a bit about the security architecture as proposed by APC and Monday Okpebholo should he win in Edo State.
Well, thank you. Security is one of the pillars of Senator Monday Okpebholo's intervention in rescuing Edo State from the misrule that we have had from the PDP in the past 8 years. And we are happy that in the area of security, he has a track record. In the senatorial district, when the government folded their hands and appeared helpless to the insecurity in that senatorial district, he is one of those who spearheaded the initiative of forming their own security outfit and funding it. Not only did he give them millions at that time to support the initiative, he provided 5 functional vehicles that could be used to patrol the 5 local governments in Esan land. And these measures that he did helped to reduce the insecurity in Esan land. On the other hand, our colleague or his colleague, who was in the private sector then, holding a very serious position, was approached by his own people too in Edo Central to contribute to this effort. And he refused. It took a lot of appeal for him to finally contribute 100,000 naira. And those who collected the money said when they even counted the money, they found out that 2 pieces were missing. So it was actually 98,000 and not 100,000. That would be shameful. Now, for Senator Monday Okpebholo, it is clear that he has a clear-cut agenda. He intends to involve traditional rulers. He intends to involve the communities. You can imagine Governor Obaseki, the security outfit that he has. Where were they recruited from? Where were they recruited from? A man who says no to courtesan, yet got most of the members from there. And most of the people he put in charge are known cultists in our state. Number two, the Okaigeles in Edo South are actually the youth leaders. Their job is to protect our state. On his own, clearly not understanding that these people are not there because of him, but they are part of the traditional setup of the Benin Kingdom. He prohibited them. And I'm sure the other day you saw men and women of the Benin nation. They protested against Governor Obaseki. They even went to government house to lay their protest. Apart from the disrespect to the Oba of Benin, fighting him to collect the artifacts that do not belong to him, the prohibition of the Okaigeles was to make our place prone to insecurity. Because these are the people that safeguard our farmlands in the rural areas. These are the people that safeguard our rural communities from neighbors. And all of a sudden, he said, oh, he wants to prohibit them because he said there are bad eggs among them. Why don't you fish them out? Why don't you know who they are? So their approach to security has been very poor, despite the fact that they collect so much. Monday, Okpebolo intends to involve Edo people. He intends to create community policing. He also intends to bring in technology, the use of drones, surveillance cameras, to ensure that we reduce security to the lowest level in Edo State. He's a businessman. He understands that if there's insecurity, businesses cannot come and they cannot thrive. So I'm optimistic that in his era and in his time, Edo State, the 3 senatorial districts, the 192 wards, would enjoy peace and prosperity.
Well, it's about time, unfortunately, to thank you. But I just wanted to end on the man himself, Senator Monday Okpebolo. I once heard Prince Kazima Febua refer to him as a man of subliminal humility, able to engage with all Edo people, no matter their station in life. This probably is against the backdrop of those who are saying they haven't heard from him as much as from his supporters.
Well, all I can tell you is that Edo State, under the leadership of Senator Monday Okpebolo, would have a God-fearing governor, a man who is very passionate about the development of our state, a man who would respect our traditional institution, a man who will uplift the welfare of our people, a man who doesn't talk too much, but is a doer. You see, a lot of people do not know who Senator Monday Okpebolo is. But I can tell you that this young man is a go-getter, and is a man that God has blessed. He carries a lot of grace. Some people who lack knowledge, oh, the man did not go to school, but go and check. Go to the University of Abuja. In 2017, he has a BSc in business administration. Go and check his business record. Chapman Computers. Go and see what he has done with that company. Go and check Interwebs.com. These are IT companies that he created. And in his first year in the Senate, he was put as chairman of a very sensitive committee at the Senate. He's the chairman of the Committee on Procurement.
Thank you very much, Prince. I beg your pardon. Thank you very much, Pastor. I'm afraid, forgive me for interrupting you, we're going to have to leave it there. We've completely run out of time. So that was our program today. We do thank you, our viewer, as well, for bearing with us through the challenges of today's production. Please join us tomorrow for a hitch-free production. I am Yori Folari. Bye-bye for now.